Hello. Hello. How's it going, everybody? How's it going? I'll wait for some people to come in. Where is it? Hello. Hello. How's it going? So, in this video, we're going to be talking about Chowie Wowie, and I'm going to eat this. So, yeah, I'm going to also talk in the markets with, who is volume active in cannabis and other stuff. Want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. Do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to come in before I eat these chocolates. So how is your guys' day in the markets? Or did you just work today? So Chowie Wowie. So it's THC infused chocolates are made with 10 milligrams of THC per piece, and that can be split into 2 squares to enjoy with friends. So 10 milligrams, THC, 0 CBD. So that's the dealio with just gonna yeah, so I'm gonna just talk about the markets for now until a few more people before I eat these yummy chocolates. So today, Choom had a really nice day. It was up 4.5 cents at 29.3% growth in the upside, and it was on 769,000 volume. And grow generation is up 26.5 cents at 6.6%. So that's pretty good for grow generation company. I think it's very has a good valuation. I think they got a lot. They got a good future. Where am I? And then Even Co had news on basically they're restructuring their debt so they don't have to pay it off soon. So it's like a 5-year term based on their facility. So that's awesome. I'm hoping that's what Zenabis gets very soon, and that would really ease the strain on the company. And yeah, hit the like as well. Chowie Wowie. That's what we're gonna be talking about. But I'm just gonna have I'd like to have at least 3 or 4 people before I eat these chocolates. So Halo Labs is at 31 cents and 5.5% up today on 800,000 plus volume. And Delta 9's got their cannabis selling in BC now at 4.7% up today and 3 cents up. And Green Thumbs is up 12 cents at 3.7. And yeah, that's good for them, as well as Neptune Wellness, and as well as what else? Tilray was up 3% today on 47 cents, 15.80 USD. Organigram was up 3 pennies, and Hexa was up 3 pennies, and Valens was up 3 pennies. But companies that didn't really move too much today were Chronos and Namaste and Meta and High Tide and Cresco were flat, and Planet 13 was a little bit out. But Aurora lost 5.4%, 4%, and Zynerba lost 4.5%, and True Leaf lost 4.5%. So I don't know. It's interesting with the markets. I mean, let's look at the commodities. Oh. Yeah, where's the commodities? I'm just getting it up. So where's the price? It's for daily it's like 0.5%, so it's not really moving too much right now. And platinum's up a bit. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if there's gonna be a lot of people coming, so maybe I'll just start eating them. Maybe they'll come. I don't really care. I don't know. I'm gonna post this video anyways, so whatever. I'd rather be. I'm known as the most undervalued cannabis YouTuber. I think that's what I'm gonna call myself. So you gotta open it like this in the back. These are pretty good for waste. So I opened it. It's like woo woo. So here's a chocolate. So these were $7. All right, $7. Chowie Wowie. Just a second. Got my light going. Chowie Wowie. Yeah, so ooh. Not bad. That was pretty good. Tastes like a good chocolate. Chowie Wowie. Chowie Wowie. Yeah, so those are $7, okay? $7. Oops. Those are $7. All right, sorry about that. And basically, you get 10 milligrams of THC, and it's 80 calories, 9 grams of carbohydrates, 5 grams of fat, and 5 milligrams of cholesterol, 10 milligrams sodium, 50 milligrams potassium, and 0.5 milligrams of iron. So that's interesting. Milk and soy contains cocoa butter, unsweetened chocolate, soy lecithin, natural vanilla extract, and cannabis extract. So they're using cannabis extract to get the cannabis for you. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So that was $7 before taxes, and then with taxes it's like $7.80 at the store. But you got to be careful at some of these stores because they can be kind of rip off some places, especially in Vancouver. The Wildflower store by Sun CSC, they're called City Cannabis, and I've been inside there, and all the grams where you buy were $20, like $22, and hey, you missed it. People that are coming in now, but I ate this, so it can replay it as soon as this video is done. I eat the snack. It tastes very good. Yeah, I had no complaints about the taste. I heard with that Aurora Cannabis, some of their chocolates, like they don't taste that great, but who knows? I haven't tried them. They're a little more expensive. I more likely would try the Oxley products for cannabis edibles because they're like better priced. They're around like $6 $5. So they're more reasonable, whereas like Canopy and Aurora, they're more like have they have about they're like you're like anywhere from 9 to like $13, $14 for their 10 milligram THC. So that's way too expensive. I mean, even this is expensive because based on this, you're paying about 75 cents for a milligram of THC. So, I mean, that's too expensive. I mean, when you get like a vape or something like that, or like gel capsules, like you can be paying around like anywhere from like 12 to 25 or 30 or 40 cents a milligram of THC. And then when you buy like a gram of flower, if it's like a 15% THC and it costs say like $7, like the price, like you're getting like 150 milligrams divided by like 7. So I don't know. It's a lot cheaper if you're like just smoking the weed because get way more THC in whereas like getting edibles or beverages is going to be. But I mean, if the beverages get more CBD in them, that could be somewhat appealing, as well as with um, just the THC as well. But I don't know. I think like Oxley's got a lot of products with vapes as well as edibles, and Namaste has a lot of vapes, and Chronos has a lot of vapes, but no edibles yet. So, who's really running the edibles game in BC is Tilray, Canopy, and Oxley, and who else? Like Canopy and Aurora. Yeah, I mean, MedRelief doesn't have a product, and Afri doesn't have an edible. So those are really the ones that are running the show as far as edibles go. But you know, there's going to be other products that come out like at different price ranges. So we'll see. Um, yeah, I'll talk a little bit more. I'll just kind of, I was hoping a few more people were going to come in to watch me eat my chocolate bar and talk about that. But, you know, I haven't been doing live streams that long. So to do it randomly, and it's like, it is what it is to get like, I don't know, two, 3, 4 people like running in. But I'm glad you guys are here with me. It's cool to talk in the markets live. This is my third live stream I'm doing. Who knows? So Palladium's up. Wow, wow, wow. Oh my god. Palladium's at $2,100. So I mean, if you got a platinum group metal miner like Nilsy or Implants, that's getting some even Wheaton Precious Metals, they get a lot of palladium as well. So that's good. And nickel has it's up 1.16% and platinum's up, but it went down a lot when with the war with in Iran. Basically, when they said it was like, oh well, they're not going to have he's stepping down. Trump is. Then all of a sudden, then people like the gold price went down and crude started going down. So it's the same with some of the other commodities that are kind of linked to that risk volatility, such as silver. So it's kind of leveling down, but who's to know what's going to happen? I mean, 2020 could be full of so many mysteries. So it's really hard, you know. You gotta just you can only really like look a couple days ahead of time. So there was that what was the news in the market? Um it was I don't know if there was any news, but I know Afria and Organigram, those financials are coming out soon. So that'll be interesting to see their financials, as well as Organigram and who else? Kush Bottles and CBDMD. CBDMD. They're almost close to profitability. I mean, they got Bubba Watson, some other guys. So who knows? Oh yes, Cresco Labs is closing acquisition of Origin House. So that's pretty good for them, I guess. But I mean, it's kind of going to sell off because Now there's going to be dilution with Cresco Labs and Origin House. Uh, and then Harvest Health has alleges that illegal activities at Falcon International, and yeah, they're suing Falcon as well. So it's kind of a little. I wouldn't touch Harvest right now. Too much uncertainty. Um, it's really hard to find companies that are really like safe. I think the safest cannabis companies are Chronos and Balance and Labs. I think because Chronos has a lot of money, and then they're demonstrating some leadership position as far as the vapes go, as well as with just ability with all that cash, and they're in a lot of markets as well as they're Israel, but just all that cash. I think I just love that cash. So they're safe. Like they're not going to get destroyed the same way as if Aurora Cannabis or some other companies, if there's any like sector wide bad news. So I like that. And Valens is just demonstrating like really good net income every month, as well as with Labs, it's just generating a lot of more revenue. So yeah, I mean they could be like an active pharmaceutical, uh, have all active pharmaceutical ingredients for all the LPs, and the companies that are really serious in the medical space, if they're gonna have like some type of drug, and they need active pharmaceutical ingredients such as like CBG or like THCV and all these things, like they can get all that compound and then like give it to say some other big companies such as like Afria or whoever. I mean, Afria, I guess, tries to be an extractor themselves, and some of the companies like so Aurora, they got their Radiant Technologies that's going to be their extractor. But I think Metafarm Labs can still find out their niche with other companies around because they are a leader as far as the revenues go. And then with the Andrex Pharma for Germany, and then other plans with like vape companies or just some companies that want some API, like just even if it's not API, but it's like it's a ingredient for their edibles. So they can just buy bulk from them and then make their own edibles, or just with the capsules and stuff. I mean, I can see for same in the future being like instead of getting Tylenol, people go get CBD capsules, and that's like gonna make them feel better. So that's really the game changer for the industry. But I don't know. Things are at a standstill. But I made a video earlier. I was talking about how with the market in Canada for alcohol was in 2017 was 22 billion, and in cannabis was like 1 billion in 2019. So it can grow like 20 times just to meet like alcohol. And then people think, oh well, it's they're not gonna conform. They're not gonna. It's not never gonna be as big. Because there's no edible, like there's no beverages to have it at a winery. I mean, or at a cannabis just took 3% from alcohol in the first year. Well, yeah, exactly, man. Thanks for coming, Sheldon. It's good to see you here. Um, I got something to tell you actually. With I did it in the other video. It's called Livent, uh, Livent, and that's a lithium player. But I'm not really sure the lithium's going to be big right now because I don't know. I just don't. Uh, they're in the Tesla vehicles. They use a lot of nickel, so I don't know. I don't know about the boom and the bust for with lithium. Yeah, you're looking at the album Merle. Album Merle, I think probably be your best bet, but I don't know. Livent. Let's look at the stock. It went down today, 11%. Yeah, so you missed it, Sheldon. I had this. I had this. Um, yeah, so LTHM on NYSE. I don't think they're on the TSX, and they got 146 million shares outstanding and a market cap of 1.27 and a nice PE ratio of 14.59. I don't know what their debt levels are. They have quite a lot of short interest, about like 15% of the market. So, oh, I hear you, man. You really have to diversify. 100% in cannabis. I've never been 100% in cannabis. I've always had assets in other things, like whether it was like my condo or just like precious metals and stuff like that, and commodity stocks. But I was definitely like overweight in them. The big thing is I've been able to learn that you gotta focus on the net income players, so that like Valens and Labs like didn't get destroyed the same as some other companies in the last year. So learning that thing's the same as like Trulieve, but Trulieve's like got some battle wounds with that suing. So I don't know how much power they're gonna get to like go bump up. I was just thinking about it, because they got price targets of about like $30 or $32, and I don't know. It's hard to say. You learned that this year, but I got in. So yeah, well that's great. I mean, I think it's hard to really lose money if you got into CGC and ACB in 2017, and then you held so long. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it's just about scaling in, scaling out of positions. You just never know, because that's why Warren Buffett, he always has cash on hand, right? Because he just never knows when there's going to be an opportunity. And if he does, like, he likes to have stocks that are below 20 PE ratio. So to find that in the cannabis industry is really tough, really tough. Based on last quarter, like what is Fallon's is like based out about I want to say like about 360 million. So and then their last quarter was like 5.5 million. So if you times that by 4, that's like a 22 million in net income per year. So then you're talking about like an 18 PE ratio. So that that is a really attractive PE ratio in the cannabis space, and it's not going to be at these levels like as long as a business keeps running in the right direction. I mean, I'm thinking 27. They already said 27 million, but based on them doing on 16 million doing 5.5 million in net income, then they do in 2020, like, or the next quarter 27 million, then you're talking about at least like probably 10 to 14 million in net income. So nobody's really doing that in the cannabis space. Nobody is. So read your comments, Sheldon. So I think January 15th goes against True Hobby. Uh then you look to go jump into it. Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of all the stuff that just got released towards True Leave, I think it's already hampered them. So I think people already knew about all that stuff to begin with, and it was just basically if does does do they have EU surveillance? I don't think they do. No, I don't think they do. Labs doesn't even have EUG. It's like GMP, so they can go to Australia because Australia has like not as strict laws to get into. That's my understanding. Um, yeah, it is early. It is early. But at the same time, like I mean, some companies are overvalued. I mean, I think if you're focused on like the biggest players, let's look at the list, because I look at it on the cannabis ranking. I'd like to show it but I can't figure out this live stream OBS thing, so I can't do it with you guys. But I'll say like on the new cannabis ventures, if you look at the tier 1 index, those are the companies you really want to focus on, because those are ones that are doing over 10 million, and they're not necessarily like all great, but the Canadian players I don't think are going away. They're gonna Yeah, the Hathaway cannabis portfolio, I think is like one of the best. Like you're not going to find that information for free anywhere on YouTube. Um, I mean, will that portfolio necessarily be up in the next month? Who knows? But I think for like if I was to do it again, like for like set it up because that was like based on back in October, and I wouldn't probably have a position in Stevia side because they posted a net loss. So it was all the rules that were all like outlined. Like if you followed that information to a T, like I think 10, 20 years from now, like I can't see that information not like working out. You would be like, okay, you have a low weighting in anything that's speculative that's not making a net income because Warren Buffett doesn't invest into any companies unless they're producing a net income. And he wants the PE ratio under 20. So that's the basis of what he does. And Warren Buffett, he'll keep money in cash before he needs to invest. Like we don't need to invest all the time. We don't need to always have money in like all our money in the market. That's and it's hard because you're like, oh well, it's just going to go up, but that's not the reality. There's always times where if you had like 20-30% of your account when like Canopy hit its bottom or Chronos hit its bottom or whatever, and then that's it's basically like the kind of Berkshire Hathaway portfolio is based on that all the companies you want to have in your portfolio have to have a net income. So as soon as they fail to do that, if they do a net loss, then they're kicked to the side. No ifs, ands, or buts, because that's like you have to be disciplined. You can't just be like, oh well, they'll turn it around because they may or they may not. But like your portfolio has to be more important than that. Like your wealth needs to be more important than just be like wishing. Uh, you got 50% of your marijuana portfolio in it. Uh, what do you mean? Like you're following the kind of Berkshire Hathaway portfolio to a T? Is that what you're saying? That's pretty cool. I'm not even following it to a T because I have like some douchebag stocks that I'm trying to offload when the stock market goes up for the Canna stocks. Because I'm feeling though like what I heard on the street is that January 15th or something is when Ontario is going to have all their edibles, I guess. So I think there's going to be a lot of sales in Ontario. Like Ontario, the potential in Ontario is like really fucking big. And that's such a piss off that Ford has to be such a dickhead about it because like Ontario's in North America is one of the top five like biggest places. I know it's brutal, 24 stores, but they're still doing okay sales. I mean, when you look at the market share of Canada in 2019, they had about 20% or so of the sales, like maybe 22, but they should really be up to like 40%. So if I'm talking like in 2020, it's going to be a 2 to 3 billion, then 40% would give them like 800 to like 1.2 billion in revenue. But because there's not enough infrastructure, that realistically they're probably only going to have like get to about 350 to 600 like max for 2020, and it could be higher if they have way more stores that open up faster. But every month that these stores aren't open, like that's like lost revenues that they're not going to get back because people are still going to buy their cannabis. They're not going to be like, oh well, I'm going to wait till these stores open up and then I'm going to buy. Like that's not how people work. They want to get their cannabis, right? Yeah, so I'm going to go through this list on the so what it is, what I always look at this New Cannabis Ventures. It's one of my like go-to pages for Intel, and I always look at it's always in Canadian. This what it does. We can do the global stock index too, and that's in USD. It's like CGC, and but I always look at how much value is in there because that's telling me how much institutional buying or selling is going on in that stock. Like Canopy had 72 million today. Aurora had 27. Afri had 16.8. Chronos had 11.9. and Hexo had 7.6, and Organigram had 3.8, and Labs had 2.4, and Supreme had 1 million, and Valens had 886,000. So that's really holding back uh that's really holding back Valens because there's not enough value like volume to really push it up. So they don't get the same respect that Labs gets because they're not on the TSX. So and they're not moving to the Nasdaq. And I don't know what it is. Like Twitter really loves fucking Metaform Labs. I mean, they don't like give a shit about Valens. Like, but I don't know. I told people about Valens though because I just numbers don't lie. People do, and I don't know. I bought a lot of shares. I mean I bought the Chronos this week at 885, and I'm not really like super happy because I was trying to get out of that trade. But Chronos is safe. Like I'm not too worried about keeping it overnight. Um, and then when it moves to like 925, 950, I'm gonna get out. Yeah, 24 stores, and they would do online. Yeah, I said it like I said it in one of the videos when I talked to Scott Sycamore. I said a lot of the sales are actually in online, and I have to take that back because there was actually a report out there that said like that's not true. A lot of the sales, like 85 to 90% of the sales, are actually in the stores. So it says that people need to have stores open because um bought some more today. Balance. Yeah, I think that's a great buy at under 330. Hi, Scott Yanarone. I hope I'm saying it right. I'm super duper heavy Isodio. Isodio, yeah. I'm actually out of Isodio. I think they're a piece of crap, but there might be a CBD, like there might be the management that may change it around. Um, that may change it around and move it up, but I just don't like their insider management. So I just felt it was better money in Xanabis because I just out of my insights of knowing that what I think, I mean, could it be wrong? Sure. Isodio could go to like $1.50 in a month or two, but yeah, bad quarter after the 9 million, but yeah, they are getting more efficient financially. I know they have some guy from McDonald's there, but I can't recommend them as a buy to people because they've just been such a disappointment. And I just want to be known as a person that's I don't need to talk about like 1,000 stocks. I just want to talk about like the best companies. I mean, you guys can ask me questions about like crappy companies. I'm not trying to like diss on your companies that you own, but I'm just saying though, like I just have to be super disciplined because I don't want to lose my money in the market, right? So I have to pick the most efficient companies and the ones that have the most cash and like be careful. So you're saying I like brands best versus competition. You've been in CVSI? Yeah, I mean, I picked them for my Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. I put them, I think, at about a 2% rating. And yeah, I think they're going to have a decent time in the future. I just noticed that the CBD market, such as like Charles Webb, as well as with CVSI, and even Isodio, their revenues are like kind of going down, and their numbers, like the net income, like they did a net loss with CVSI as well as Charles Webb this quarter. So I wasn't too impressed with that. I mean, can they change it around? Sure, but I mean, Charles Webb. I mean, you just can't justify it if they're not making a net income. How can you justify them being like $10? I mean, I'm I mean, if you can't do that with other companies in the space, really, because they were like what they do 80 million, and like they went to like 2.83 billion dollars in market cap. You can't justify that when they're making like 3 to 4 million in net income a year. That's like 1,000 PE or something. I mean, it's a really high PE ratio. So um, you can't justify that. My thoughts on the hemp CBD market. My thoughts are that I believe that Tilray and as well as Kronos and Canopy are going to be chopping at the bit as far as getting market share in USA for CBD. because Canopy has the BioStill relationship, so that's like with like athletes like Connor McDavid and all these other guys. So the amount of influence that they can do on the market to buy and sell, then that's gonna make them like sell a lot of products. But I don't know when that's gonna happen. But even just their products, I don't know what it's called. They're probably gonna sell quite a bit of CBD, and the Manitoba Harvest with Tilray, and then they have like another company. Like I think it's the same. I don't know what the brand is that does this, but this is Tilray's product, right? I just ate that. If you missed it, I ate it. It's 10 milligrams of THC and a little bar. You can just like clip it into half, and then I just ate it, and it tasted pretty good. I'm not disappointed, and it was $7 before taxes, so it's not too unreasonable. I mean, would I buy it every day? No, but I mean, it's not. I mean, you feel it. Like 10 milligrams, I'm feeling it. I'm not like mess out of my mind or anything, but I mean, you feel it. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I think the CBD hemp market, like to summarize that, because I think people do need to talk about the CBD hemp market. I think it does get neglected a lot. I do think there is a market, but there is a lot of competition, and the FDA needs to they need to rule, and then all the companies can sell lots of stuff in Walmart and CVS and all these other big stores in all of USA. That's going to make the industry like really thrive and prosper. Until then I'm not really that interested. But like if you have a stock that's in there, or if you bought it now, and I mean you think it's a low valuation, then I mean I don't think it's the worst position. Yeah, Chronos, Sheldon, I think I agree. I think Chronos is a good buy. I don't think you can lose too much money when they got like $1.5 billion in cash, because that's like way more cash than what fucking Canopy has. Canopy has like 900 million, like they had 1.1 billion, but based on their burn rate, they probably have about like 850 to 900 million in cash right now. So not too fucking good. I'm not, but I mean, CGC is still a leader in the space, but I think Chronos is a more dominant force as far as their cash position. They're just doing things really like low key, and you know, uh, you jumped. You're in Eanthus. Yeah, Eanthus is interesting for New York. I don't have a position in Eanthus, but I think if they really get some market share in Eanthus and they're efficient, I haven't seen them be efficient with their SG&A. I really think they're kind of a company that kind of they just swooped in and took MPXI, and they haven't really done anything other than, acquired that and added those revenues. I mean, sure, I mean, people are all hyped on Eanthus, but I want to see them really like dominate and do their own thing without just like acquiring. Like it's called organic growth, and I haven't seen any organic growth with Eanthus. But I mean, I'm not doubting on them having like a future, but they're not really like super on my radar. But I need more information. I'd like to see some revenues, and I'd like to see a nice quarter from Eanthus where their burn rate goes down, or I'm probably just waiting until they get a fucking net income, and then maybe I would get in. Um, Oh yeah, I've given up on Isodio. I mean, if they turn it around and they become a player like Valens or like Labs or something like that, then I would look at them differently. Excuse me, but uh, yeah, well, the industry should keep growing. I agree, but when a company such as Isodio has like no cash, they really are like treading water, and they're like about to get slaughtered. I mean, I like the fact that they're in UK, the same as like Harvest One. But as far as recommending them, I wouldn't do that any time in 2020 unless they did something like fucking phenomenal. No, they're not on my radar. Uh, Thoughts on MedMen? Yeah, I think MedMen is a good company for retail in California, but as far as the stock, I don't really like believe that much in the stock. Do I have a small position in MedMen? Yes, I do. Would I like to get out of profit? Yes, I would, and I don't want to go back in. Why? Because I think that there's inner works between Gotham Green and and they just burn too much money. The insiders are just ludicrous. They're piece of shits, straight up, blunt. Just have to say it. They steal money from the company. Are they lowering their burn? Absolutely, they have to, or they're not going to get any more money back. So um, I don't know. I I don't know. It's not really a company that I'm gonna say like they're like the shiznit or anything like that. I'm just gonna say that they're a company. They're a dominant force in California as far as their revenues and stuff. But as far as being a great company, uh, ACB with CBD and Roar Sports with UFC. When does ACB become a good gamble? ACB with CBD and Roar Sports. Can you tell me a little bit more about Roar Sports? Because I don't know what Roar Sports is. So is that's connected with the UFC? I know ACB is thinking right now, but they do have brand power, the most popular stock. Yes, I do think that. Hey, Reefer, how's it going? If you want me to talk about anything, you miss me. For the people that are coming in, I can't believe how many people are coming in. It's really cool to see. But I got Chowie Wowie, and it's a 10 milligram THC product for $7 Canadian. So um, when does ACB when does ACB become a good gamble? I don't know. It's hard to say. I think that it's when the sector turns around. I think that's the sector. They're I don't know if you guys understand that, but when you look at different stocks have different beta. So what beta is like, okay, so it's based on like say hype on legalization in like Illinois or their revenues go up a lot or something like that. The movement in that stock that it's most likely to do up or down, they call that the beta. So ACB is a very high beta stock. It moves a lot, like it moves up and down a lot. Whereas Chronos or like Labs doesn't like move at the same velocity as ACB. So you really need to be on the right side of the trade with ACB because it'll go like up and down like harsh. Whereas like Chronos only moved like 1% down today, whereas ACB moved like 5%. Um, so I don't know, man. I don't really know when they're going to be a good gamble. I don't. It just depends when the sector is going to move in the upside. I think there's a lot of negative headlines with Aurora in the future, but as far as like being a swing trade before earnings, I think there's potential with that. But then I mean they're probably pushing a pretty good loss, so the market's probably not going to give them anything like benefit. I don't know. It's I think if you buy right now, I mean you got about I'd say maybe a 30 to 40% chance that like I don't know, it could be a $10 stock in like 2 or 3 years when things like develop over Europe and stuff. But there's also downside that it can go down to like $1. I mean, they got 1.1 billion shares and they got all that goodwill on their balance sheet. But um, I like the company. It's kind of the same with MedMen, but not the same because I think Aurora has way better structure for their the way they run their business. And yeah, absolutely, they are a leader in the space. They do have great with the San Rafael sells a lot, so I think there's a lot of volatility with Aurora. But I mean, yeah, I think they do look attractive at these prices, but I do think it can go lower. I don't know what else to say. I'll let you know based on updates. Chrono gonna buy MedMen? Yeah, they probably. It's I don't know how it's gonna turn around it, but the Green Gotham, MedMen's just I don't know. You're kind of walking on a time bomb. I mean, I don't know. They do have a lot of revenues. I just don't know how they can move the stock up. That's my big concern. Roar Sports does CBD research for the fighters backed by M&A. Well, that's awesome. I think that's great because you want to have influencers, and MMA is a very big dynamic force as far as being big influencers. And you know, boxers and football players and everything like that, they do like CBD and cannabis. So I mean, when they get it mainstream, then that's going to be beneficial. um I am waiting for a write down. Yeah, well, you just don't know if it's going to happen. I'll tell you why. The write down, are you talking about the write down for the Exeter facility, or are you talking about their med relief write down where it's like 2 to 3 billion? Like it's like 2 billion, but then you add up like CannaMed, and you know you're getting up to 3 billion, or it's above. I don't know how it all works out, but they got 3 billion of goodwill. Um, yeah, well, it just depends. You just don't know if they're gonna do the write down on the goodwill. The reason why I say that is because Altria has about like Altria's got like $5 billion in goodwill, and they're still rolling with their goodwill. So companies can keep goodwill on their balance sheet for however long they want to. Realistically, it's kind of up to the accountants, I think. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Accountants or the institutions that are saying like, well, you got to write down. I don't know. It's hard to say how things would work out. So I'm not going to say for sure they're going to take down the write downs. It's just my thoughts on gold. My thoughts on gold are that it went down today because it's like a safe haven, right? So when they say that that like wars, like they're not going to do anything crazy with like USA. I'm not USA with Iran. I'm sorry, but when they say they're going to back down, then that creates like a less worry in the world. So then people sell their gold because they're like, oh, don't worry about it. And my thoughts on gold are this quantitative easing. So there's a lot of pushed money into siphon up the elites and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not an expert on this stuff. You should watch Gregory Mannarino and you get a better explanation. But there's a lot of like uh, printed money. So I think gold is a good thing to have in your portfolio, but you want to have a good miner, like a big miner that has like decent amount of cash position and maybe has a dividend. Um, you know, something like a Franco Nevada, and you gotta just watch the gold prices because on investing.com you'll show the gold prices, and the gold prices can move up. Like it's around 1560. It could move to 1650 next week. So it could go a lot up. That's going to push up all the stocks that are like the really good miners. So as far as, and then if you want bullion, I mean, you can go to bullion shops and you can have like you know, you can have your assets in a bit of gold maybe for a safe haven. Um, in Altria, their assets are huge compared to their goodwill. Their assets. Uh, well, I did the comparison. I looked at their assets, and a lot of that is like the assets. I mean, you like their property and equipment is like 900 million, and then they have something else. I really think their assets, the last time I looked, was around 1.5 billion. So I think that's what I looked at, and then you got all that goodwill of like 3 billion or something. That's what they can be rated as, like a 485 um, book value. That's what TD says. I'm pretty sure that's a pretty accurate numbers, but don't quote me. I don't have the link right here, but I'm pretty sure that's about their assets. Like if they didn't have any goodwill on their balance sheet, then their market cap should be based on a one price to book should be about like 1.5 billion, and then their stock in Canadian fund should be about buck 40. So that's the reality of things. With the book value still in there, then they should be like 485. Uh, because oh yeah, yeah. I guess you're right, and yeah, you're probably on the ball. That makes sense. They can carry it because of all their assets, but ACB has half assets. Okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that's true. I agree. Altria is just a monster. You know, you can get a dividend with them. So um, I don't know. That's actually a reason why I kind of bought the Chronos, because I'm like, meh, worst thing happens. They get like, if I decide I'm gonna hold it for long term, I'm like, it'll just turn into Altria and then I'll get a dividend, because I have been like, I have a video I haven't released because it's kind of shitty. Like video lighting, and I just don't know if I want to release it. I probably will when I just don't have any like content, like, and I just will release it. But I do intend to have like, I would like to have a dividend growth investment portfolio, but it's kind of like, it's not really comfortable in my vein. It's like, it's not really me, but it's like my part of me is like, well, you got to mature and you got to be smarter. So dividend investment portfolio is smart. So yeah, palladium is up big time, man. Palladium's up big time. Big, 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 big. Man, I had 1 ounce when it was like 750 and I sold it at like 780 or something. It was like retarded. Um, uh, because it had never been this high, but I knew that there was like some Russian connection with palladium. So I wish you could get like I wish there was like a pure palladium company, and there is actually. It's like Northern Palladium. It's like PDL on the TSX, but it was I didn't really find out about it too late, and now it's like getting bought by Impala, I believe. Long term, you will never lose money in physical gold. Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you say long term, 2 or 3 or 4 years, I mean, you could lose money on gold because there's been times when gold's been like lower than it is now. So there's a chance. I mean, who knows to say, but I think if you hold it, yeah, absolutely. You like say you're like, oh, I'm gonna give it to my grandkids or whatever, then gold is one of your safest assets for sure. Uh, yeah, palladium is up 180, man. I know it's so fucking crazy. I my thinking is that is because they can convert. They use palladium for catalytic converters, but they can transfer like the catalytic converters. They use some ones use more platinum, and they also use rhodium. Rhodium's the one that people don't even talk about. And I made a video about it almost 2 years ago. I didn't buy it, but I was planning on buying it, and that one's up crazy. It's up to like $6,200 an ounce. And the Danielle from Kitco News, she made a poll and she was asking, like, do people think it's going to go to $10,000? And there's a good chance because it's way effing rarer than gold. And but I think that there's a chance that palladium can go back down, and then platinum will go and start like rising in the middle. So say like platinum starts going to $1,100, and then palladium goes to 2,000, and then platinum goes to 1,500, and palladium goes down to 1,700, and they can meet in the middle, and then maybe platinum could be higher than them. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. If you own palladium, I'm not telling you to sell it. Sell it. I'm just saying though, I wouldn't be buying any palladium right now because it's expensive. Hey JG, how's it going? Uh, yeah, total assets for Altria. Yeah, Altria is a really big guy. I mean, it's like I don't really like cigarettes, so like I think it's bad cigarettes. So that's like a reason why I wouldn't buy Altria straight. I'm too on like it crosses my mind. I want to do things for the right reasons or something like that. But at the end of the day, I'm just an investor, and if you can make money on Altria, you can make money on like Facebook or anything like that. You don't really agree with their services or their business. End of the day, you're making money. We all want to make money. You just have to. You can get all these you can get boxed because people can say like, oh, don't buy a stock over $5, it's too expensive. Don't buy a stock over $20. And then like people can say some BS and be like, oh well, somebody bought, like Warren Buffett bought Coke at 3 cents and now it's like $50, which isn't true. I mean, like give me the link where it says that's true, because it's not. I mean, um, Warren Buffett bought Coke when it was in 1988, and if you look at the price increase, it's not the same as what someone's saying. So they can say all this shit, but it's all about making money. So whatever you see, like you can make a put. You could say like, oh, you could say tomorrow you think Apple's going to go down, and then you're going to get a long-term put on it. You could be like, oh, I want $270 USD put good till like March or like say April, because you think it's going to go down to say like 240, and you could make decent money on that. uh Yeah, thanks for all the likes. 5. Appreciate everybody giving me likes. Um, you bought Altria today, Sheldon? Well, that's awesome, man. That's a like a very wise investment, man. That's like a more mature investment out of like people I talk to on this channel. So that's pretty cool. I think your portfolio is very mature, man, with the Valens and the Labs and the Chronos, 10 years and more. Mines in Africa shut down due to power grid problems with the country. Cars the price of palladium to uh you mines in Africa. So what do you mean referral joint? Are you saying that you own a stock in palladium? Do you own like implants, or do you like own, is it like Anglo American Platinum? Um Mines in Africa shut down due to power grid problems with the country that cars caused the price of palladium to go up. Yeah, I mean there can be a lot of uncertainty. That's why rhodium went up to $10,000, because these in Africa these workers went on strike, so that wasn't very good. Um, yes, what that is where the best value is, when you give it to kids 20 years, 30 years later. Yeah, no, I agree. I think for gold, for sure, 20 years, 30 years later, that's what you're not gonna, if you buy a stock, like if you buy Aurora cannabis and then you think you're gonna give it to your grandkids, there's no for certain that it's gonna be around in 10 to 20 years. I'm not saying it's gonna go bankrupt, but you don't have for certain that it's going to be around in 10 to 20 years. Whereas if you own an asset such as like silver, platinum, palladium, gold, or rhodium or whatever, you're still going to have that asset 10 years from now. Could the price of it be down? Yes, but it's still going to be around. Um, yeah, Altria going to own Chrono. All tobacco going to join for vaping industry. At least the smart ones will. Yeah, well, Imperial Tobacco, I mean, Oxley's becoming a really big beast as far as the vapes go. I mean, as far as their stock goes, I'd like to see them like post a net income before I say, oh, like, oh, I'd like to have them in my portfolio. Because I just know like the way Chuck Riffy did his shit like a long time ago when the IPO was pretty shady. So he like gave himself all these shares at like a penny, and then he like pumped it to like 280 or something like that. So I'm not really a fan of, but as far as their deliverance on their legalization 2.0, they have been very dominant as far as their sales in edibles and vapes. They have Foray edibles, and they're like they undercut like TILRAY, they undercut Canopy and Aurora on their pricing, and they undercut them on their vapes, and they have a lot of SKUs for vapes. So I think they're going to do very, very nice numbers. You're going to see with Oxley. Um, it'll be 1 month or so of sales, but the next, I don't know when their financials, like when they end actually, but if it was like January till April, I'm pretty certain, without like, I'm just putting my neck out there, like when those financials come out from Oxley, they're gonna be very big. Like the revenue growth, because like last quarter was around 1 million, is gonna be way, way bigger than that. People are gonna be surprised when it comes out. So there's a chance that Oxley could have a really nice run before those, like the financials that after the next one that comes out, I think. Hate to buy sin stock, JG says people will buy them either way. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. People will buy shit. They like don't matter. Altria gonna own Chrono, all tobacco, and smokes, etc. Weed is the sin stock. Yeah, I think it kind of is. Yeah, so the people that are coming, you missed me. But if you want to replay, I ate these chocolates. They were $7, and it's just one chocolate piece. You can cut it into half, and I had it, and it's 10 milligrams of THC. I mean, I'm feeling it. It was a nice, tasty chocolate. I mean, is it kind of expensive for that? Sure, but I mean, you go to Purdy's and you buy a chocolate, it's like $3, $4 anyways for that size. So I mean, it was actually pretty tasty. I mean, people saying like the Aurora chocolates or something like that aren't that good. So I don't know. I'd have to taste them and compare, but I don't want to spend like $1,000 to taste test all these like SKUs at the same time. I only like bought these for my own personal use, like the vapes. Um, Smokes, or sorry, medical. Yeah, it's a medical as well as it's a sin. I mean, that's the thing. I made the I made a video and I was saying, oh, I haven't released it, but I was saying that I was at the liquor store last night and I just like messing with the lady at the till. Like I don't know her, but I'm just saying like when sometimes I just talk about cannabis. I'm like, do you know that uh Corona or like Budweiser, like they're like invested into cannabis, and they're like, woo, I didn't know that, or like Martha Stewart, and it blows them away. But I was saying that like, okay, so in 2017, the alcohol sales were $1 billion. I mean, the alcohol sales were $22 billion, and then cannabis sales in 2019 were $1 billion. So that's like 20 times growth that can happen with. I mean, will it happen? Who knows? But in order to catch up to what the sales are, I mean, there's 20 times potential growth. And that's like even excluding the medical. So if the medical became like a 10 or like a $5 billion industry in Canada as well, with people like getting like Tilray's working on breast cancer stuff. You know, you got the GW Farm with Epidiolex for seizures. So the potential's there. It just needs to become more. Uh, am I calling you old? No, I'm not calling you old. No, I'm not calling you old. Listen, I think the wiser you get with your investments, I think the better potential ability to sustain a portfolio will be, because when you play like say like 0.004 penny stocks, and then you buy like $2,000 worth of that stock, and you're expecting it to go up, and then you lose all your money on that, and you do like similar shit like that, and then you lose all your money, you're going to lose your appetite to want to be a good investor, because you're going to start being like, oh, the market's rigged, it's just a shitty thing. But the reality is people are making money on the investments. Like Warren Buffett's been making money on his investments that are making cash flow. I was watching Kevin O'Leary. I don't really like him that much, but he basically says that it's stupid to buy a stock that doesn't make cash flow. Why would you buy a stock that doesn't make cash flow? That's silly. So um, that's what we need to be. There wasn't any companies that made cash flow, but now there's companies that make cash flow. So if a company makes cash flow, you got to put them on a pedestal as far as when you're buying them or selling them, because that's the way, that's the way of the world. If you want to be a like a long-term investor and not like lose your portfolio because it goes to zero. Um, yeah, you are only as old as you feel. Yeah, sometimes I feel fucking old too. So I hear you. Could you taste weed? No, I couldn't taste weed. I couldn't taste the weed. It was very good. Yeah, Hope. Hi, Nixus. Hi, dude. Yeah, I've never seen you around. Nice to see you here. Hopefully we see an uptrend soon with Tilray, especially after their joint venture with Fluent Beverage and their product with Docklight New Age Beverage. I don't know what you mean with a Docklight New Age Beverage. I just know that you can buy these in the store, and you can buy the Kanika vapes, and they also have teas. Like they got CBD teas. So like they have a 3-pack of CBD teas that are made from Fluent, I guess, or it's the Bev JV, and that's got how many? Oh, okay, 10 milligrams CBD per tea bag, so 30 milligrams, and you're paying about $16. So it's kind of expensive, but maybe the teas are really good. I know if you go to David's Tea and you buy like a packlet, like some of that stuff can be kind of expensive. So you know, if it's a really good tea, maybe there's a big market for them to make a lot of money. I know Haven Street from Terrason's got some teas coming out as well, and Tea God's got some like powder stuff, just in different products. I've done my research, but yeah, no, I think Tilray is definitely going to be a leader. I was thinking about it, and I mean, when the beverages like they haven't came out, I don't think anywhere, or maybe somewhere, but like it hasn't really like had an impact on the market. But when it really becomes sustainable, then they should have, you know, maybe in the first year, maybe have like 10%, and then it's only going to grow bigger, like 15, 20%, and maybe 25%. So if Tilray and Hexo and Canopy, like they're all fight and they get like 25 or 40%, that's a good chunk of change. If it's like, say, if it's 25% and we're talking about a $2 billion market, that's 500 million. Like 25% of that's like about 125 million. So, if those companies can make that in beverages, like that's some good money that these companies can make. That's not really like, that's not the only reason why I like Tilray. I don't own Tilray, but I like them for the global expansion. So, but yeah, no, I think they're going to be fine. They're never going to be, I don't think they're ever going to be the number one leader in Canada unless, say, like they buy out a company, they buy out like a big grower, say like Hexo or Organigram or Zenabis. I think really that's their only chance to be as big as Aurora and Canopy. So without that, I don't know. I don't like Canopy, but I digress. Cannabis is amazing. How about the new THCB discovered? I don't really know. I saw a tweet saying, some guy saying like THCP is stronger, but I don't know which strain. Like I think it's like in very little amounts, but yeah, man, they're gonna find all these different cannabinoids. They're like a little kid at like the zoo, and they're like seeing an animal for the first time, and they're like, "Whoa, this is it's a sheep. Like I wonder what it does. I wonder if it like eats the grass." Like that's what these scientists are doing, and these scientists went to school for 10 years. Like that's what they're doing with the cannabis. So they are like, some of them are more advanced. I know Aurora's got like Page, I guess, Jonathan Page with Anandia Labs, and he seems very like smart. And some other companies like Tilray's got like they got working with the US like government for stuff. So I mean, and it's not just that. There's big pharmaceutical companies. I'm talking about like GW Pharma, obviously, but with like, what is it, like Bayer, or is like Sanofi and Novartis. Those companies have worked on patents and stuff. So uh, I think teas could be huge. I think could be huge. Old people love tea. Guess what age group is starting to love? You got baby. Yeah, I think so, man. I think you're right on the money. I think that the teas, if they, if people start hearing about them and they do, they like them, I think they will be selling out of the shelves for sure. I think that the capsules are, they've been kind of like slowing in sales. I've been hearing. So, but I think they're gonna have a return. Like they're gonna have a lot of sales eventually. So that's another market. Can of butter. THC is 30 times stronger than THC. Yeah, well, I'd like some too. A lot of people like tea. If it can make the old joints and bones feel good with no side effects, no huge pill cases, with loads of pills to take a day. Yeah, no, I agree. A lot of people like tea. I agree. I mean, I think so. Even with THC tea, if that becomes popular, or like a one-to-one mixture, it's just about stigma and more stores and getting the products out there. Because once like the products are all across Canada, you got a 36, 37 million population, and that's a lot of money that could be made from these companies. Kaboom! True. NBev is my gamble since they're trying to make Marley CBD drinks and shots. Well, yeah, Tilray's got Marley natural vape cartridges. DT is great though. DT. Wonder what that uh at a decent price to start. I think so. JG Tilray is going to be a good price to start a position. I've been looking at it. My only concern is their cash position, and they were talking about selling cash, like selling stock on the open market. So I don't know. I mean, it's really complex, but I mean, if I knew more information, if I was an insider and I had better intel when they were gonna raise money or something, I know they have cash. They can like stay, but they do burn a lot of cash, so that's the concern. So it's I feel safer buying Chronos. So that's what I did yesterday. Tea is great. I drink tea all the time. Yeah, I like tea too. I got tea over there. I'm gonna have some. It's a chai tea. I like tea, so I don't know. I don't know. pretty much what I want to talk about in this video. I think I'm gonna get going. If you got any commodity questions or anything like that, I can answer a few more questions before I leave or some other things. But I think I'm gonna get going. Got another video that I think it was funny. You guys, nobody. I don't know if you guys watched the video with cannabis will be $1 trillion industry, but I think that's a good video. And yeah, I hit the like on that one. Nobody even give me a like on that one. But a lot of people watched it. It's kind of funny. So whatever. Thoughts on ENBRIDGE? ENBRIDGE. I want to know about ENBRIDGE, but I just don't know enough. I'll do you a favor. I'll look it up, and then we'll just get a brief synopsis on what their price to book, or not their price to book, but it'll tell me on investing.com what their revenues were, and it might give me an information on their PE ratio, but it's not going to tell me what their debt is. And the thing is, I don't know. Gregory Mannarino thinks that oil is going to go up, so it did go down a lot today. So these, it's like I think it's like an oil and a natural gas stock. So they have a really, what is it? A low PE ratio based on Warren Buffett's metrics. He could buy the stock because of under 20 PE ratio. But I mean, doesn't mean it's a certain that it's a buy or anything like that. See, it's gone up from back in, what is it, August like 18th or so, from like $32 all the way to 39. So that's like a lot of move for what this company is. It's like a lower beta, so it's like 0.63. So that means it moves less than the SPY, I believe, whereas a stock such as like Aurora, the beta is going to be really high in it. Or if you had a leverage like ETF towards oil, it's going to have a lot higher beta. So I mean, I don't know. I don't want to price to book 1.69, sales 2.2. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're a bad company. I just would I just I don't know if I'm interested in it. I need more information if the pipelines would go through in Canada, but Canada doesn't really like business. We like to just bring in people from other countries, or like give money to like other countries, and not really like work on ensuring that people in our country make good money from their trades, or their industry that they're in. That's not really like their concern. That's the way Trudeau runs a business in Canada. Like he's so, as far as Enbridge like having like pipelines and going through, I mean, yeah, I guess they do. I think I heard that from somewhere else. They have, or but I'm talking about like the big pipelines where all that stuff's going to go from Alberta. Yes, Nick says Tilray owns Sinclair for the candy. Um, yeah. I mean, I think Tilray's got a great brand. Uh, uh, because he's got a great brand, because they have they're working on with the Ab and Bev, and then even the vape brands of Marley Naturals, or the Kanika brand. It's a very good price for the Kanika vape. And yeah, I know what they're talking about, like the convection and all that stuff with the brands. I can't remember. Like, yeah, what you're saying is Sinclair. I know Tilray's got a whole thing, but when's that gonna really the revenue is gonna be like ginormous? I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen in 2020. Probably like later on, 2021, 2022 or so. And then if they get those products with a CBD in USA. But I do like, what I was also going to say to add to that is the Manitoba Harvest. They're getting a little bit of products in USA, but they're kind of having problems with the regulators. So if that's products able to get into like CVS and Walmart, then they're going to be a money making machine. And I think they are trying to lower their burn, and so they want to get to EBITDA, but they're going to lose money in 20, like a little bit of money for sure. Not the same as what Canopy and Aurora, but yeah, world needs oil. Trudeau, yeah. Uh, Add lines in USA. Only good thing Trudeau did was legalize. Yeah, he did it, but he also just yeah, I mean, he just did a terrible job of it. I mean, like, it's not just Trudeau's fault. It's a lot of the municipal halls, to be honest, with cannabis, why it isn't as big. Yeah, don't be sorry, man. I just know some people don't like politics stuff, and I try not to like make this about a politics channel. But yeah, man, I can be very outspoken on stuff like that. So for sure. Net income 2.2 billion for Enbridge. Yeah, I mean for sure they do a big net income. What my concern would be is I'm pretty certain that a company of that size has a lot of debt. So that's the concern. But yeah, the dividend, yeah. I mean, I have to look into it further, Sheldon, before like my basis is I have to be very like close-minded. You know, if somebody tells me a stock tomorrow and says like, yeah, this is a definite buy, I'd be like close. Like I need like one click, two click, three click, four click, five click, like all these checklists to add up before I want to buy that stock. You know, like uh if I don't see those, then I just don't want to be involved with that. But I mean, I think probably like as far as oil staying afloat, like and the price of crude going up, I think Enbridge could go up a lot. But I need to look into them further, and I don't think they're the worst player for sure. Like based on like the simple investing.com information that I gathered, I do think they're a decent player for sure, but I would need to look into them further. Tombstock had a good day, and looks like money is now flowing through their stores finally. Yeah, I think so. I heard things about their was it like Niagara Falls? So so yeah, their Falls, their store does really good. So I do have a small position in Choom. So yeah, I hope they do really good. I do think, yeah, I think their money, but I don't know where their cash burn is. So I don't think they're at the same level as far as you know, in the financials and all that stuff as say Meta or FAF is. But you know, maybe they're gonna just start doing really not good numbers in 2020 and post a good net income, and that would be awesome. I hope they do. How is Canada Day in Montreal? I'm not really sure. I've never been to Montreal, but I think from my understanding is that it's a lot of fun. So uh, yeah, I'd like to spend time in Montreal sometime, but I don't know if I don't know if it's a place where I think you don't need to speak English actually there. A lot of people speak English, so you don't have to speak French. So I would only go there if a lot of people spoke English, which I think it is true. Uh, yeah, thanks JG. You're being a very good supporter, as well as Sheldon Snow. He's being one of the big supporters. Uh, Eduardo and Five Finger Lid, and I don't know. I'm just being appreciative of all you guys. Uh, and yeah, there are a lot of new people coming, like Nixus and Mike Hamilton. I don't know if I've seen you. Maybe I've seen you before, actually. I know there was someone from like New Jersey or something that I think had a Mike name. Um, Assets 166 billion and debt 60. Yeah, I want your true opinion when you look in. Not trying to persuade. Asset, yeah. I mean that's the thing. They have a lot of assets, so I don't know. I think it's very a company that's got a lot of debt. They're very weighted towards the commodity price, right? They're very weighted. So that's like essentially kind of why not excuse me, not just commodity price, but their financials. Like if they start losing money, then Wall Street will beat the shit out of them because then it gets scary for them when how are they going to make their debt payments? So yeah, no, it's fine, man. I don't find you're pumping me to buy Enbridge. I know there's some people on Twitter. They're always like, CXXI, 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 HCB, HCB. But I don't know. I did my report card for CXXI and I got some hate from like someone. It's like you can't do. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just being blunt. but CXXI is like very very cult of a stock, but they're trying to pump it up. I got one Columbia Care. Yeah, Columbia Care is all right. Not my number one pick. Um, I just want to see them doing net income, and they're too far away from where I live. So, company that people don't really talk about that may do really good in the rec market in Canada is Sundial Growers, SNDL on the Nasdaq. They did like I think it was like a write down or something like that was like really bad for their balance sheet last quarter. It was like minus 95, and I think I gave them like a C plus as a revenue growth. But Sundial Growers, now they have Top Leaf, and Top Leafs was like one of the best like black market growers in all of Canada. So they're doing the grow up in old Alberta, and like I'm hearing great reviews from that Top Leaf, and they also have Top Leaf by Sundial vape pens. So I mean, I think the vape market is going to be very good for the next few quarters. So Montreal is a fun, speedy, and yes, they speak English. Yeah, I think you're right. I think my brother told me that. Yeah, JG was showing me pictures of Cresco's product. Yeah, it was that's awesome, man. I think Cresco's not a bad player. I'm not sure of their valuation, but I know that they're like supposed to do very good numbers in 2020 and 2021. So I can see why a lot of money is flowing in there. Yeah, no, I appreciate the support, JG. And yeah, thanks. I'm trying to bump my you know, boost my channel, like grow it, I guess, a little bit. I don't need to grow it that big. I mean, eventually with time, I'm just more about I just want more mature people to talk to and stuff. I don't need like people being like pumping to me like buy like buy AG4 AGFX like AIGPX or something like that on the OTC because I just got zero time for these OTC bullshit stocks. Um, are some stocks from the OTC good? Yes. GRWG was a very good stock on the OTC, and I think KSHB Kush Balls is a good stock on the OTC. But your chance of finding a really solid company on the OTC is kind of like I don't know. It's hard. Uh, But I have another one, but I'm not going to talk about it. But I'm looking toward USA. And another thing, okay, I want to end that off is I found out the OTC with the those big miners, those are good companies, I think. I'm talking about like Implants and Nilsy, and those are big miners, and you can't find them on the TSX or the Nasdaq. So for that reason, I mean, I can still like say like, oh, those are good companies, but 99% of the companies you're gonna find in the OTC are like complete bullshit. I mean, unless they're on the TSX already and they just haven't moved up to the Nasdaq, then that's like a different scenario, right? I think you guys understand that. Uh, yeah, you've been curious on Sundial. Yeah, I mean, I've been too, but they haven't really proven. But I mean, I watched this lady. Her name's Unity Marguerite, and she's also on my Twitter feed. And she works for like a big dispensary in Vancouver. Well, I don't know if it's that big, but regardless, Vancouver is a big cannabis spot. So and she's like involved in that game, and she's like showed like the black market products before. Like she's all about like good cannabis. So if she's saying that like she really recommends this, she was at the facility and that Top Leaf, and she's really impressed with the Sundial growers, then I mean I kind of had a negative bias because like they sold some bad product to Zenabis, and it wasn't like really negative towards Sundial, and I didn't think that was fair. And then it was kind of like negative towards like Zenabis and stuff. It was like what the fuck. So I'm looking toward USA Sundial looks, but I have my Canadian picks already. Yeah, I think you need to have if you're gonna play the cannabis space. I think you have to have companies that are either extremely undervalued or there's room for them to grow because they're moving into different states or they're moving into different countries and they're really making a dominant note in those places. So that's what I say. Or Yeah, the analysts can be such liars. Yeah, they can be liars. I agree. That's just the market for you sometimes. But I mean, Tesla was. I mean, in all with all that said, though, Tesla was running net losses. So at the same time, though, uh, they were doing net losses. So the street can be like, you guys are worth fucking zero because you guys are losing money and you're going to go bankrupt. So that's pretty much what they do with Aurora. And as soon as Aurora posts a good net income, then the Wall Street's going to be start saying like, oh my God, Aurora is so great. We're going to give them like a 50 or 100% price target from where they're at. And it'll probably be up like 2 or 3 times from where it is today when that happens. So, I mean, that's just the way the analysts or Wall Street kind of act. I'm the best, not a pumper. Yeah, I mean, if my stocks go up because you guys want to buy them and I can make a ton of money, I mean, sure, fuck yeah. I mean, that's not my mentality. I just want to own the greatest stocks that I can find in a portfolio, and effectively, then the market's going to go up because of that. Because you can't just be like people that do that all the time. It's not you can't just like, oh, this stock's gonna go up, like buy, and everybody's gonna buy, and then you can just offload. Like people can see that, and then they'll just be like, um, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to build my portfolio, and I want to have companies the best. Like I only want to talk about the very like the most mature companies in any industry because I don't like it hurts losing like and you're not going to lose that money when you have a company that has solid financials all the time. So that's just the reality. But will the stock go up or down still because of that? Yes, but so true about I'm building a position with Greenland for that. I'll check out Sundell. More things. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, Greenland's interesting. Yes, Valence should be great for vapes. Vapes, money in my pocket. Yeah, no, hey, if my I always do this kind of comparison sometimes with stocks. I don't know if you guys ever thought about this, but this is an idea to do is if you see a stock goes like really like up a lot and you think that the other companies like has a great value system, you'd be like, okay, eventually the market's gonna this hasn't paid well in my experience because I've invested into like companies that don't make money. But you think about it and you're like, okay, so say like Apple, you say you bought Apple at like $200 and then now it's like $300. Well, then you can sell that and then you can like look at Valens because maybe when Valens was, I mean, that's not going to work, but say Valens was like 350 when you bought Apple at $200 and then now it's at 299 and Valens is at like 330. So now you can buy more Valens with your sold shares from Apple. So it's like a ratio, right? Like before you could buy 70 uh 70 stocks of Valens or like 60 stocks. Now you can buy like 90 stocks, right? You can buy more. Um I like people who pump Xena for a year. I like people who uh for a year. Yeah, I don't know, man. Xena's been an interesting thing as far as learning about myself and learning about the investment. Um, you know, Zenabis has really taught me that price of sales doesn't mean shit. As far as the cannabis and the market can go down like long time. And I knew they had debt, but it was never really like a big concern. And that's really what took the market down a lot, as well as Rick Brar. But I basically looked at like I bought stock when it was about a buck 50, but like I have like 7% of what I have now. I have way more shares now because I got them down from like 15 cents to like 18 cents. That's where I accumulate on my shares. And I look at it as that it is a gamble. I want them to do EBITDA positive or maybe a net income next quarter. And I do think the stock can run to like a lot fucking higher. So I think the risk reward's great on Zenabis, but I'm not going to tell you guys to buy Zenabis because I know it's a very risky stock, and there's a lot safer stocks and you can own and you don't have to like worry about it like that. Whereas with a Zenabis, you do need to kind of worry about it because it could just go down a lot and you could lose a lot of money. which sucks. But Sundial grows flowers, herbs. Yeah, they're also in UK, I think, or somewhere in Europe. They're making money in Europe. Grow Generations. Yeah, I think so. I think Grow Generations. I think if I could buy Grow Generations under $4, I'd be buying a fair bit, maybe like 100 or 200. Musk is a genius. I don't own Tesla, but with the Boring Company and launching satellites to give them the best internet. Yeah, Musk is yeah, he's an interesting feller. He's definitely made a name for himself in the car industry space. Great outside the box mind. Yeah, listen, man, I've never been the most popular fucking person in the world, but I've always you know, thought for myself, right? I just gotta do, I'm a good pool player. It's all about like strategies and stuff, and I'm just trying to develop a good strategy. And strategy is that you want to have a net income, and you want to have like a similar portfolio to the Berkshire Hathaway portfolio. And I try to do that every day. As soon as I can get out of a position with a profit that doesn't have a net income, then I will, and I'll move it to a company that has a net income, because, or I'll move into cash, because then I can save and I can preserve my wealth. Profitable, solid company. How did you like the San Rafael vape? How did I like it? You know what? It's hard, man. When you're not relaxed, you just like don't taste it the same. I wasn't really relaxed when I was doing it, but now I've done it after, and it serves a purpose. I think that JG knows these. He has like the vapes, and they come in the cartridges, and then you have a battery pack. And I think those vapes are way better than just the regular disposable vape pen. So that's what I would probably do. And it's fairly expensive for the San Rafael. So I don't know if I would in the future, but they do last a long time. I mean, if you think about it, they last a long time. So I don't know. That's kind of a concern for me, because if these like vapes last so long, then it's like, oh, well, people can like this could last them for a whole month. Whereas like maybe if they just like smoke like, I don't know, like an ounce, it maybe wouldn't last that long. I don't know. It's weird. How do you like the center of? It looked like the Kanaka one was better to haul on in the video. Yeah, I agree. The Kanaka is a stronger battery pack. I'm pretty certain it's a bigger vape. So yeah, I think it's a better. Also got more in it too. You got like 3 times more. Needs to mature. Yes, it's still so very young. I agree, man. We're like pioneers as far as investors go, and sometimes that's not really a great thing, because what I was thinking about on my drive is basically that what do really good investors do? They don't buy a stock because they like the company or anything like that. Like, they just buy it because they did their research and they know it's very, very undervalued, and they don't think it's going to go out of business. And they think it's going to be around for 10, 20 years. So, you know, there's investors that are now coming towards cannabis now, because they're realizing that some of these financials, like the balance sheets on these companies, are very attractive no matter what fucking industry you're in. So then they're not being biased like, oh, well, I got to be in the cannabis industry because I'm gonna make so much money. Yep, Sheldon's still growing, still in Pampers. Yeah, well, some of these companies are doing very shitty fucking numbers, and I'm not afraid to say it, because it's true. And I wish I would have known better a year ago. But I just the thing that's like a big problem for the industry is that the companies got valued too high and too fast. So I think that's had a problem on a lot of the small companies, and they've had to like really get suffered, because they were valued like based on like being like a Tesla or something, like Canopy Growth or or Tilray, and they're worth like $30 billion. So they were supposed to be worth $30 billion, and then all these eyes came around and they're like, whoa, we got to destroy. There's no value in the cannabis industry. So it just got too fast, too soon. If those companies never went to the Nasdaq or all that stuff, where they got money from like Chronos and Canopy so fast, then I don't think they'd be punishing some of these stocks so bad, because if you understand what I'm saying. Disposable vapes are junk. I think I only buy disposable what have visible tank of oil. Yeah, I agree, man. I don't think you can have a visible tank of oil in any of the vapes that they sell in Canada yet. I mean, maybe there won't be one coming, but no, I don't think you can. I just found half an ounce of Hindu Kush in my fridge. Yeah, baby. Shaka. Yeah. Hindu Kush, I've had some before. I'd like the Afghani one actually. Uh, Village Farms makes good one from, yeah, it's good. I like it. So hard to tell who's going to be around because it's so young, except Chronos Labs Valens. Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, there's no certainties that Labs or Valens will still be around either. I mean, there's really no certainties. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying they're going out of business. I mean, that'd be an absurd thing to say because I've done my research. I know they're like the best, like battle tested and ready for the next 5 years, as far as I can concerned at this given moment. But things could change. Like maybe Canopy or Aurora could just, or not just Aurora, but all these other companies could be like, well, we're not even going to deal with you. Uh, like Labs and Valens, we're just going to do our own extraction, and then they lose all that business. And then what do they have? They have like shoppers for Valens, and Labs has Andrix Pharma and like Australia, and they have the potential with the medical market. But that's like that. It's not like a concern right now, but maybe in a couple of years, right? So you can't just be like, oh well, today they're for sure. Um, do you think Aurora? Yeah, I think so. I think Aurora will recover, but I think they still have a bit of more room to go down, and I don't know. It's hard to say if they want to do that goodwill. That could make the stock go down a lot, and I don't know. Maybe the accountants could do that in the next like 20 days. Who knows? They're still doing that. Probably the financial stuff. So they could just like the snap of a button decide to give Aurora $3 billion goodwill off a write down, and the market wouldn't like that at all. On turn heat setting the lowest possible to achieve best taste and last longest. Yeah, I've heard that too. I think you're right. That's a good tip for people who are using vapes, especially you don't have a choice on lowest on these things. You can just press it and then like you just inhale. But on other vapes, yeah, I understand the temperature. I think it will go down more in the next couple months. ACB got lots of irons in the fire. One will eventually get red hot. I want in between $1 and $2. Yeah, I think so. And you're in Canada, right? You're in Canada, Sheldon. Yeah, I think so. I think that might be the price to get into Aurora, man. But yeah, as based on their assets being about 1.5 billion, and I guess them being a leader, maybe. So maybe they held that premium, but um, you live in Northwest Territories, man. You're crazy. Holy fuck. Isn't that above British Columbia, or is it above, say, like Ontario or I don't know. There's a whole world out there that will need EU and GMP. Yeah, I think so. Extractors are essentially 2.0. Well, yeah, I hope that Valens and Labs gets their EU GMP very soon. Yeah, JG says it has its own extractions, one in Georgia and one is going in Delta 3 greenhouses. Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to work on some oil. I think they should work on that CBG oil. That's what they should do. Talk to some company and I don't know, like maybe they can be the API for one of these big companies that wants like uh that CBG, because that would be pretty good money. Way up north in the Arctic, originally from Nova Scotia. Wow, man, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. BC, Alberta. Okay, yeah, I was almost there. I've been to Fort Nelson, and I drove about like 30 minutes. I don't know if it was like Yukon or. Dang, it's cold here. There, it's true, man. It's fucking true. 1,000 miles above Yellowknife. Oh wow. CBG, the place to be. Minus 40 today, early today, 51. School was, oh wow. I've been outside. I opened up the mailbox when I lived in Fort McMurray one day, and the wind chill was minus 48. and I went snowboarding when it was -30 and the wind chill was -43, and I went in like every run pretty much, and it was a small ski hill, and just get hot chocolate. So I don't know, it's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't, I don't like it. It's cold, but I wore a lot of clothes, so. But it's getting cold here as well. It's about -15 tonight, and then in like Saturday, it's gonna be getting down to -26, and then -32. So that's gonna be a little chilly. Yeah, that's crazy. It's colder here in southern Ontario compared north because it's dry. Yeah, the dry weather is cold, but when it's like -45, it's also cold. So that I don't think you're gonna like either one, man. but but it depends. Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. I don't like to argue about stuff, but I mean, sometimes I argue, but for sure. Anyways, I think I'm gonna get going. It's been an hour and 40 minutes. I wasn't expecting so many people to come, so I didn't mind staying a little bit longer. But yeah, I helped you out with some information. And okay, I'll answer your question. Battery powered jackets now with heating elements in them. Yeah, that'd be cool. When do I think a recession will happen, sir? Uh, that's a good question. I think that they're probably going to keep the market up until next election, but it'll probably will. It's all based on the oil price. So I think if oil goes back down to like 55 or 50, the market's probably going to go down. But like a full blown recession, I think it's going to be hard under Trump. I mean, he just has so much power with these bankers that they won't. I mean, he's just going to be able to turn on the switch and then pump up the markets. So I don't know. Yeah, yeah. See you later. Nixus plugin. Yeah, phone like jack to charge. Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. It's a wild world, man. There's a lot of stuff. I just can't afford everything out there, man. I love to try everything out, but got to try out this tonight with you guys. If you didn't see it, it's at the beginning of the video. Crunch it. But yeah. Anyways, keep compounding info. Listen to my lingo and shaka capice. I'm out. Yeah. No more I don't know, man. It's gonna be crazy. Who knows with World War? But anyways, later, guys. Bye.